This is Emma van der Vijver on the 2nd of February 2022, and the approach I'll be using is the humanistic approach. And I have Danielle as my volunteer who will be chatting with me today. Danielle, thank you very much for taking part. I know that we haven't chatted in a while. How are you doing? I know it's February, but how was your Christmas?
It was lovely, thank you. And I hope you had a good Christmas as well. Yeah, we had a lovely Christmas, thank you. We managed to get over to the UK in December.
Okay.
To go and visit my dad, which was quite nice. It was very stressful, if I'm honest, in getting there. We had the UK had put South Africa on the red list.
Right.
So we had all of our plans and everything set and scheduled for coming over, and then everything was put on hold. So we had a lot of running around and travel agents and stress and aggravation in trying to get different flights to try and get out of the country to still get over to see my dad for Christmas. But we managed to eventually get it right. And it was a lovely break. We went via Budapest. So my husband's family has got a cottage in Budapest. So we took the chance of going over, possibly having to be in isolation, possibly not, and just having to sit and wait it out. And we were very lucky in the sense of, after the stress of getting through all of the airports, there was no isolation. There was no, following up with anyone or anything. We were allowed to just have a holiday.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I know that, when we last spoke, you said you were extremely stressed and, work was becoming a bit overwhelming. Apart from the stressful build-up to the holiday, did you have a chance to unwind? Do you feel that you had that time?
Half and half. So my work, which I think I did mention the last time, it sort of goes with me wherever I am. So as long as I have internet access, my work follows me. So yeah, I did get a little bit of a break sort of between Christmas and New Year's, but leading up until Christmas, I was still working on Christmas Eve, trying to get some work done before I took some time off. So unfortunately, it never really fully stopped. There's never 100% downtime per se, but I did take sort of a week break between Christmas and New Year. And then I was met with a lot of work coming back. So we actually acquired a new business, part of our business, for one of our branches. There was another academy that needed a venue to be able to run their sessions from, and we have taken them on. So yeah, that was quite hectic because it was a whole new company basically that I had to integrate and take on while I was overseas. So not being able to actually phone clients, speak to them, tell them what's happening, explain the new processes and procedures and everything like that. So everything was done via correspondence. And then I kind of hit the ground when we got back home and haven't really stopped since.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you sort of left on a stressful note and you came back and hit the ground running there.
Yes.
Okay. And so you said you had some downtime. Do you feel like that helped with, you previously mentioned that you and your husband sort of battled over your work home life balance. Did that help to sort of reconnect you guys?
No, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Because when I was working, he got quite irritated and frustrated because we were supposed to be on holiday and I was still working. So he felt like he was just doing everything with the children, where, he also wanted a break, but I was sort of going, but I'm working, so I have to work, which means you've got to help with the children. So it was a little bit stressful in that regard. But when we did have sort of the downtime in between, that was nice because I didn't have my phones with me. I didn't have my laptop with me. But then it was, for a large part, sort of, well, tag, now you can watch the children and look after them because I've had them for the past sort of week. So, yeah, holidays they're lovely, but they're never actually quite restful when you have small children. So I kind of came back going, I need a holiday from the holiday because it was quite stressful. The first part in Budapest was nice because it was just us and our family in a cottage, and we came and did what we wanted and how we wanted. But by the time I got to my dad, I was staying at my dad's place with my stepmom, and they've got a beautiful, beautiful home that's just newly been renovated, but it's picture perfect. You know, everything has a place. Nothing can be, you know, you can't touch a lamp, you know, that's got beads on it, because houses are for living in, not for playing in. You know, so it was very, the last 2 weeks was very stressful in that regard of, you know, making sure that our boys were quiet and they didn't run down the staircase and they don't make noise, you know, at certain times of the day, just to not interfere with somebody else's lifestyle, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was it was lovely, it was beautiful, it was an amazing time that we had, but it was constantly sort of on tender hooks. It wasn't just relax and be in your own space.
Okay, so I like that you're taking the positives from it. You know, it was stressful, but you still managed to have a good time and have a nice holiday and see your family. So I mean, that's a good thing. Do you feel that you know, coming back into work now, do you feel recharged at all? Do you feel like, even though the holiday was stressful, it did give you that physical break, even if it wasn't quite the mental break you were hoping for?
A little bit, yes. It was nice to have a change of scenery. So it was really nice to have that, you know, as much as it was stressful, it was a change of scenery, and the boys had an absolute blast, although we're mega spoiled and came back with all of the attitude that comes at the end of holidays. But yeah, so it was a nice physical break. But yeah, just really busy since having gotten back. It's, you know, it's February now, and I feel like I just climbed off of the plane yesterday. It's gone that fast.
Yes, I think we all feel that way when we hit February. And I know that, you know, last time we spoke a lot about your husband and his work-life balance. Have you felt, were you able to address any of the previous things we discussed about him, you know, taking on more responsibility either with the boys or with admin?
So we started this year off, and it's kind of like, very thankfully and very gratefully, it's kind of like everyone's sort of gone, we need to continue living our lives, and COVID is there, but it's not going anywhere. And we've had an extreme inflow of clients. So it's been very busy, to the extent that, you know, I've been working sort of every single evening. I've been sitting at my computer for 10 to 15 hours every single day, which I don't usually do. So it's been very intense the past couple of weeks. And the first week I was superwoman and I did everything by myself. So I sorted the kids. My little one has just started the equivalent of grade 1, year 1. I was doing school runs, school lunches, homework, everything like that, plus all of the admin, which is basically doubled overnight nearly. And I possibly lost my cool slightly with my husband after the end of the first week, because there's never any, I don't know if it's just men in general, but they don't offer. They'll see you struggling, you know, and you're doing absolutely everything, but until you actually say, I need you to do the following, they never actually offer to do anything, or go, oh my goodness, you're really busy, let me see if I can help. So after about the first week, I lost my sense of humor at my husband and said to him that I actually can't do everything by myself. I can't cope with everything by myself. I physically don't have enough hours in a day. And I must say, he's been quite good since then. So he's picking the boys up from school every afternoon, which is a good help, and he's doing homework as well. He's making lunch, so he'll, you know, call me when lunch is ready and say, you know, lunch is ready, so that I can come into the house and have something to eat. And then if I say, okay, well, I need to go carry on working, I'm not being met now with the same sort of demeanor and disposition that I was met with previously. So he's more willing, you know, it's sort of like, okay, that's fine, off you go. It's not roll your eyes and how long are you going to be, or I've also got work to do, or, you know, are you actually going to spend some time with the boys or anything like that. So yeah, I'd say the past 2 weeks he's been quite good in being a help and giving me the space to be able to do the work that I have to do. Because if I can't get my work done, then we don't have clients and we don't have people in the pool to be able to earn any money. So, it kind of all starts with me. I've got to be able to get back to the clients and have the time to do that for the business to operate, basically.
I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, what I'm hearing is you communicated your needs to him, and he has responded the way that you hoped he would, which is great. He's obviously heard that you needed the help, and he's stepped up, which is what you were looking for last time, which is fantastic. How's his health been? I know that he had some health issues previously. Has he been on top of that?
No.
Right.
He hasn't. So he had health issues towards the end of last year, and health scares and all of that. And then we kind of went away on holiday, and it was sort of the mindset of, well, I'm on a holiday and I'll do what I want, sort of thing. We got back in the new year, and the first week was just crazy with everyone settling. And then he was quite good, and he went to gym for a week. He hasn't been back to gym for, I think, since before lockdown. So for 2 years. So he went back to gym, and it lasted all of a week. And then the motivation was sort of gone. And then last week, nothing happened. So he's trying to not drink as much during the week, which is good. And I can see that, and I do appreciate it. And, for example, last night he said, I'm going to have a glass of wine. And I said to him, why? It's the middle of the week. We said we aren't going to have anything to drink in the week. And he said, no, I've just had a really, really bad day and I feel like a glass of wine. And I said to him, well, having a glass of wine isn't going to solve it. Why don't we go upstairs and we can watch a program in bed? Because every now and again we've got series that we watch, and he sort of went like, oh, okay. And we went upstairs and watched a series instead. Whereas in the past, I would just sort of be met with, I want a glass of wine, leave me alone.
Okay.
So he is trying. It's not to say that the consumption of alcohol is reduced any on the weekends, unfortunately. We sort of almost make up in quantity over the weekend what we're not drinking during the week. But he is trying in that respect. So no major changes. He is tracking his blood pressure again now, because I've told him that he does need to just have a follow-up with his GP in this month, just so that he can have a check that his meds are still working correctly and everything like that. So he is busy tracking his blood pressure, which is good, because, last year it was do one morning and then miss a day, and then do one evening, and there wasn't that motivation to actually follow through with a task of checking your blood pressure twice a day. So he is following through with that at the moment, and that is a week-long process that he needs to do. So I think he started, what are we on today? Wednesday. I think he started on Monday with doing that. So there's little bits and pieces, but there isn't a heckload of motivation going around, if that makes sense.
Okay, what do you think would help motivate him more? Do you think there's anything that you could do, or anything? What would be his major motivation to make a change, do you think?
I don't know. So the one thing that he says, and sorry if it's a bit of too much information, is the intimacy side. So he says that he doesn't get enough intimate moments, if I can put it that way. And he said that directly affects him, and he would be happier if there was more intimacy and romance between us. And I kind of go, I'm really, really busy. I have no time for myself at the moment, nor my family, never mind for you as well. And I kind of go, if you're going to be grumpy and tired or moody and not be motivated to do anything for yourself, like, I'm not your solution. So I can unfortunately be quite stubborn and hard ass in that circumstance, in going, well, no, because you're not being an equal partner. So why should I, try and, in inverted commas, make you happy when that's not the problem? Yes, I understand intimacy is a huge role in a relationship, but, there's lots of people who are very happy in their life who don't have partners, and it's not the be all and end all.
Okay.
So, so I don't know if there's anything that I myself can do. I'm basically just trying to keep myself in check, if that makes sense. I'm going to attempt to start exercising again, and just, try to be happy within myself and hope that that will sort of radiate out of, I'm happy, I'm exercising, I'm doing this, and hopefully he'll see and model similar behavior.
Yeah, so I think that often, if you've got somebody in your life that's doing that kind of thing, it can rub off on you. So, I mean, it's a very positive stance to take. And I know that we did speak about last time you'd done a whole month of running 5Ks a day, which was fantastic, and you felt better for it. Have you been able to, and obviously with Christmas, I don't know anybody that consistently did any exercise over Christmas, but have you been able, since you got back, to carve out some time for yourself to do that?
No. Okay. That's just the honest answer. The holidays, no sugarcoating it. The holidays were obviously very, very busy. So I had no intention of exercising then, and I had all good intentions of exercising when we got back and starting running again, but it's just been that busy that to get the motivation to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to go run and be back before my husband starts working and the kids wake up in school, when I'm only finishing at 10, 11 o'clock at night at the moment, it's kind of that way up between what is more important, the extra couple of hours sleep or going and running. And I really love my sleep. Really do like sleeping, but so no, I haven't been doing any exercise. I did, however, do a aquarobics class this morning. And that was sort of the first session, or the first day, I want to say, this year that I haven't felt sort of that complete overwhelming sense of there is so much work to do. Okay. So I sort of got to a point yesterday where I was like, okay, like, I think I'm on top of things. I think work is actually, manageable and I can cope, if that makes sense. So I did an aquarobics class this morning and it was fantastic to be back in the water. It really was a lot of fun. I need to try and make more me time.
Yeah, well, it's great that you were able to do the aqua aerobics class, but I do think sleeping is quite an important thing. And if you are only finishing sort of 10, 11 o'clock at night, right now maybe exercise isn't something that is top of your list of priorities, but definitely, like we spoke about before, carving out some time for yourself is something that is very important just for your stress levels. Do you think, are there any other ways that you think that you could carve out some time that isn't necessarily as long or as hectic as getting up at 4:30 in the morning and,
So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm painting with 2 to 3 friends. And we're doing that on a Wednesday night. So it started off as a friend's birthday gift last year. And we just sort of morphed into it, and it's paint by numbers, and everyone's actually quite enjoying it. So I have set aside, it's actually a Wednesday evening. We've set aside a Wednesday evening and we do painting. So that is sort of my one guaranteed time in the week that I've got a couple of hours that is just for me. And my husband then sorts out dinner, bath, bed, puts the kids down, everything like that. And it's quite nice because you've actually got to concentrate on what you're doing, so you don't think about anything else. So when I'm painting, I'm not looking at my phones. I'm not, as much as we're all in the same room, we're all doing our own thing, and it's time for me, and it's with other people, and I don't think about the children. I don't think about work. I don't think about what has to be done. It's just like 2 hours of me time, which is really nice. And my husband now knows that, that is my evening. So one evening a week I get off, shut down, and that's just me time.
Oh, that's fantastic. And do you feel that is sort of a stress relief that you can just sort of switch off and Wednesday nights is your night, that you can just not have to worry about anybody or anything else?
Yeah, It definitely helps. I mean, last week I was very busy, and my hubby even said to me, well, why don't you cancel? You're that busy, you're tired, you've got work to do. And I just said to him, no, I said, like, I need to have something for me to do, to switch off, to just have that break in routine. So I pretty much worked up until about 5 minutes before everyone arrived to come and paint, because they come to my house. And yeah, it was fantastic because, I was stressed up until that point. And then after everyone arrived, it was sort of that like breather, release, and then you blink and 2 hours is gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I think it doesn't have to be exercise. Any kind of mindfulness, if you want to put it that way, where you just sort of switch off, whether it's running, swimming, painting, pottery, it can all help. Adult coloring in, that kind of thing. Well, I kind of feel like from what I'm hearing, you've taken a lot of what we said on board about, taking some time for yourself and communicating more with your hubby. If you had to think of something that you wanted to work on going forward, what would be sort of the main area that you would like to work on in our sessions going forward?
I think one of my two biggest areas is still that sort of work-life balance. And being able to be involved with the family and my hubby more, because it's all consuming at the moment and everything is work. And we had this a couple of years ago, probably about 5-6 years ago, where work just took over. And I feel like I'm back at the same point, but it is easier because my boys are older. But I'm sort of stuck in that catch-22 of no one else can do my work. We're not in a position to get an administrator at the moment. So I am the administrator. No one does the admin as well as what I do because it's my business. I know all of the clients. I know how it works. But because of that, and I mean, I have mentioned to you before, we open at 6 in the morning and we finish at 7:30 at night. So we've got clients on the property from, 5:45 in the morning till 7:45 at night. So because things are so busy at the moment, trying to find that balance is really hard. And it's almost sort of that like mom guilt of like the Wednesday night. As much as I love it, I'm kind of going, flip, well, I haven't actually seen my children this week. I see them in the morning, I sort them out, I drop them off at school, and then I see them at night when I watch a program and put them to bed. Apart from them like popping in and out of the office and saying hi, I'm not actually getting to spend any time with my children or my husband. But the work has to get done, and until it starts to calm down and balance itself out slightly on work has to take priority, but in the same breath, family should take priority. But I can't provide for my family if I'm not doing the work that brings in the money to provide for them. So it's sort of that, I think that's probably one of my biggest areas at the moment is that work-life balance.
Yeah, I think, it's a role reversal, isn't it? You are taking on the role of the breadwinner, and I think traditional views are that, the women aren't necessarily always the breadwinners. And I think that's probably a struggle that a lot of women have is, you want to spend time with your children, but you have to earn the money. And do you feel that your husband is picking up the slack with the children? So you're working, but he's with the kids? How does the balance work?
Yeah, definitely in the past 2 weeks he has. Prior to that, no. It was me just trying to do everything. But the past 2 weeks he has really shaped up and he is picking up the slack. And, like if he sees me making lunches, he'll say, what else do you need? Or can I help you? Or, something like that. So the past 2 weeks he has actually been really good in helping to pick up the slack. I just don't know how long it will last before the irritation sets in of, well, why do I have to do all of this? And, why can't you kind of thing? But yeah, I'm very much if I can say, is it acts of service? I don't know if that's the right love language I like it when people do stuff. So for me, leaving your washing on the floor irritates me to no end because I've got to pick it up and put it in the basket. Yes, we are very blessed and fortunate that we do have a nanny who assists us in the house, But, my husband's attitude is, well, that's what she's there for. And I kind of go, well, that's not the kind of people that we are. And you can pick up your washing and put it in the washing basket. Stuff like he'll make lunch and everything will just be left on the kitchen counter. Okay. Nothing's packed away. No crumbs are wiped. There's ants, there's flies, there's, all the rest of that. Where for me, it's all those little things that all add up and make a difference and contribute to my irritation levels when it's not done. Mm-hmm. So, I don't like talk, if that makes sense, mm-hmm. of yes, no, if you need anything, I'm there for you. I would just far rather appreciate, make food and tidy up after yourself. When your clothes come off your body, put them in the washing basket, as opposed to on the floor. And, I can be quite hard-ass. So I'll pick up all of the washing and I'll do other washing and I'll leave his on the floor. And it'll be the whole weekend, and I'll pack all of mine and I'll put it in the basket and I'll leave his all over the floor for him to literally walk over his clothing because he hasn't picked it up. But I don't know that it actually makes any difference or that he even realizes.
Okay, so in the last 2 weeks, he has been more helpful with the boys. So I'm hearing that he's been more helpful, but at the same time, he's leaving a trail of destruction wherever he goes, which is contributing to your irritation levels because you're then coming home to a mess. Is that right? Right. Okay. And have you communicated that with him? I mean, I know that I think a clothes basket and clothes and men is one of those eternal battles. But in terms of, that side of things, have you been able to speak to him about that?
I have often. And it's just sort of met with it. That is of no importance in his life. Right. So that is just so inconsequential that it doesn't even register on his radar that he's actually doing it. And he doesn't do it purposefully. It's not that he goes, I'm deciding to not tidy up versus tidy up or not put my clothes in the basket. It's just a habit, I think. And I've spoken to him many times before and just said, can you just wipe the counter while you're there? Just wipe the counter. Or just like, we have 2 washing baskets in our room. One is open and one is closed. So you really have, you've got all opportunity to make sure that the clothing does actually make it into the basket. But stuff like that just doesn't register on his radar. And that's where irritation on my side comes in. Because what seems trivial to him annoys me. And no, it's not important, but I'd like to actually be able to walk around my bedroom and not be walking on clothes. And I don't feel that I should be the one to have to pick up all of your dirty clothes when you can quite capably put it in the washing basket. So it's just sort of those different priorities.
Little niggles.
If I can put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of want to say, can you meet him halfway? He is picking up the slack, and you have found that is useful with the boys. So a little bit of give and take in the relationship, because he has been, so helpful. If that were to continue, if you could imagine going forward that, he continues along the same vein, is that something that you could let slide?
I think so, if it continues in the same vein. So it's sort of that he's been helpful, but I'm waiting for it to stop. Okay. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we tend to have this, not often, but we tend to have it that he'll be really good, really helpful, productive, assist, do this, do that, and then it just sort of fizzles out because, I've placated my wife because she was really unhappy and upset, and then we sort of slack off until I get irritated again and go, but you were doing everything, or you were doing this or that, why have you stopped? And then it kind of goes, oh, okay, let me start again. So, yeah, I think if it can become a consistent thing, which I hope it will, then yes, then I don't mind picking up washing and tidying counters and all the little things of packing stuff away and, school bags being at the door as opposed to over the whole lounge as the children get undressed and the lunchbox gets left and the water bottle gets left everywhere. And I don't mind then sorting stuff like that out. But I am sort of in that, it is also both of us. So it's sort of that catch-22 of, should you be rewarded in inverted commas for being a good parent and being a partner and doing what is needed for the relationship. I don't get rewarded and a pat on the back and a yay, well done for doing my work. I kind of feel like, why should the other person get that pat on the back just because they are actually stepping up and doing what is needed of them?
Yeah,
that sounds very selfish of me.
No, not at all. It's a valid point. It's that whole thing of, are you parenting or babysitting? It's it's that common thing that seems to pop up in relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's great that if he can maintain that momentum, it would be interesting to see, in a month's time, how that has shifted the dynamic, if it has changed the way the intimacy in the relationship has worked, because you're getting more, as you say, acts of service. He's showing you that he's stepping up. I think the one thing you have to tackle is, I suppose, that mum guilt of, you're not available for your children. And a lot of parents aren't. A lot of parents work 9-to-5 jobs, and they come back and it's late, and they pat their kids on the head and send them off to bed, and that's that. Do you feel like you get enough time at the weekends with your kids?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
So our business also runs on a Saturday. So a Saturday, everyone leaves sort of by 12:30, but it starts from 7 in the morning. So from 6:30, I'm generally outside on a Saturday getting ready to meet and greet clients and, chat to staff and everything like that. So yeah, basically Saturday half day is completely gone. So by Saturday afternoon, and my husband also works on a Saturday as well. So by Saturday afternoon, we're sort of exhausted, and then there's only Sunday left. And then the whole rat race starts over again. So it's not the traditional 9-to-5 Monday to Friday, but then you've got Saturday and Sunday, to have good quality family time or whatever the case may be. But I do also know that we're very blessed in the fact that our boys do have mom and dad available at any given time. They don't have, a babysitter. They don't have an au pair. They don't have a driver picking them up. Anything they need, we are there, and we always have been. So I know that they are very, very blessed for that. I think it's just, that mom guilt of, I want to be there. I want to be a part of their lives. I want to be able to, help with homework. Famous last words, because we've got another 12 years of it. But, I want to be available to help. Whereas at the moment, I'm just, in the kindest manner, being dismissive, and saying, oh, that's so lovely. Really? Is that what you did at school today? Well done. Okay. Mom's just going to finish work quick, and then it's another 3 hours later, so it's that constant sort of, when the boys come to me in the office, be present for that 60 seconds while they want to tell me something. But then, at the same time, I'm almost like tapping my watch as if to say, like, okay, but I need to get back to work, without showing them that. So they are very blessed. They are very fortunate. They've got mom and dad, there's one of us every morning, every afternoon, every evening. They are very blessed. I think it's just, I feel guilty because, as you said, that traditional breadwinner role, it's stereotypically not usually the mom. It's usually the dad, and our roles are reversed, and they always have been. It's not that it's something new. I've always been the breadwinner since the beginning of our, relationship, my husband and I. So it's nothing new. It's just being able to manage that expectation when I am so busy. Like in the past, I haven't been as busy. So I've been able to make time and find time and spend afternoons with the boys here and there. Whereas at the moment, it's constant. It's constantly busy.
Okay. So if you could think of maybe, obviously Saturdays are a bit of a tricky one, because you can't necessarily say for certain that you're going to be available for the boys. But what do you think would help you to sort of ease your guilt a little bit? How do you think, what sort of ways could you work on to, not necessarily to spend more time, because you physically Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, you are beholden to your business, but what are the ways that you think you could, spend that quality time with your kids?
I don't know. I think, there's always this expectation that you've got to do something with the children, and they also expect it. they say, when are we going to have a play date at so-and-so's house? And what are we going to do this weekend? And where are we going to go? And can we go see, our cousins or this or that? Which by the end of the week, I'm tired. I'm absolutely shattered and exhausted. And, I'd like to just stay at home for the most part. We did have, I think it was last weekend, the boys had found a soccer ball, and we've got a tennis court that we use for parking. And they said, oh, Mommy, Daddy, please, can you come and play soccer with us? And we went, and they literally, we stand on either end, and the children just run, kick the ball, and we pretend to stop it, and they get all excited and score a goal. But they really absolutely love that. And they've actually asked us 2 or 3 times if we can do that. And we have done it here and there in between. So that seems to be a nice little thing that they're enjoying, that if we can make time to do that, and without them asking, maybe suggest and say, on Saturday afternoon, let's go play soccer on the tennis court, because it's something that they're enjoying at the moment, and it's something that we can do at home, and it doesn't cost money. It's not time driving anywhere. It's just being able to spend time with each other, in our home.
Yeah, I think that's, you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, it's not necessarily how much time you spend with them, but the quality of the time that you do spend with them. And those small things are the things that they remember and, do add up. And it's just a case of trying to sort of make it okay in your head that that even though you aren't spending that massive amount of time with them over the weekend, that the time that you do spend with them is time that you're really invested with them and you're present with them. And I think that that's fantastic. Just something small like that speaks to their love language, if you like, that they're being shown that you're taking that time. So, I don't think you need to be too hard on yourself in terms of the mum guilt. It's, you've got to work. And I think that, there are often stories you hear of kids saying, of parents saying, oh, I felt so guilty when, I didn't do a proper meal or something like that. And the kids coming back years later saying, oh, I love those times where we just had a picnic on the floor. I thought it was the most, the greatest time. So, it's about perspective as well, and seeing it from their perspective. And I think, from the sounds of it, you guys have got quite a good routine at the moment where your husband is taking, the parental role when the kids are collected from school, and you are doing what a person who works 9 to 5 does, working. And it's just, I think for yourself, maybe just having those moments where you check in with yourself and say, okay, well, I do feel guilty and I would like to spend more time with my kids, but I am the breadwinner, and I do need to attend to my business, but the time I spend with my children is valuable time. And you're doing that. So I think that's a positive, and you mustn't be too hard on yourself. I think, don't beat yourself up about that. But I definitely think, if we can look back over the last sessions that we've had, you definitely have a more sort of positive mindset with the work-life balance, even though you have said, that that's still sort of hanging over your head. I think that you have put steps in place that have seemed to be working to your advantages, to your advantage. And you have definitely taken on board the whole, taking time for yourself. If you could, you've got your painting that happens on the Wednesday, and you've got Sundays that you like to spend with your boys. Do you think you could carve out any more time for yourself, even if it's just something as simple as taking a bath and just chilling? Do you think that's something that you could do?
Yeah, I really do enjoy having a bath. I like having a good bubble bath or salts or something, just a little relax and unwind. I don't do it anywhere near often enough though, just because by the time I get the boys down, I'm usually, they're asleep at 7:30, and I could probably be asleep at 8 o'clock after them if I wasn't doing work. So yeah, that would be something nice. I think what I'm finding works nicely for me is if something is in place, if it's a routine.
Okay.
So I have my paint every Wednesday, so I will do it because I know I've got that every Wednesday. So I think maybe something like the bathing, as opposed to just a sporadic, oh, okay, I'm going to have a bath now, to say on Saturday nights I will have a bath, or on Sundays I will have a bath. And then it almost gives me that goal or that thing to look forward to of, yes, on Sundays I have a bath, and then I can make that time, to go, okay, don't forget it's mommy's Sunday bath day or whatever. And then have that hour to just unwind.
No, I think you're right. It's about putting routines in place, especially with small kids, trying to put a routine in place just so that they know, your husband knows, everybody knows, I need my hour. Or even if it's after they've gone to bed, because sometimes that's just easier, but knowing that, say, Friday nights, that's it, that's my night to just chill and unwind. And I think that definitely, from what we've spoken about before, is where you have done really well, is when you have either a goal in place, or that every Wednesday you've got your painting, so you will paint, and that speaks to how your mind works. It's that sort of organizational thing. So maybe that's something you could work towards, doing to try and offset the stress levels of your your work-life balance. And you'll hopefully feel the benefits of that. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't need to be exercise and running and stuff. It can actually just be sitting and in a hot bath and relaxing. I think that does help, doesn't it? I think that's fantastic. I do think that our this session in particular has been quite a positive one in terms of the changes that have been made. If we were to go forward with another session, what are you've spoken again about your work-life balance. If you try to put these steps in place, do you feel like that would have an active role in helping you to switch off?
I think it would. I do think it would help, because I just feel like I'm in a constant hamster wheel of, like rat race at the moment. So if I can put those steps in place and have that time for me, I know that I'll also feel more refreshed and be able to better cope with the next day and more work and everything like that. So I definitely think it would help if I can put a routine in place to try and create a little bit more of a better balance.
Okay, so that's a goal potentially to put in place to work towards, that we could maybe chat about and see how that works in our next session. The other thing I just wanted to go back to was your husband, and not potentially sticking to this 2-week amazing moments that he's had with you, being able to look after the kids and stuff. How, if that doesn't continue, and he does, go back to how it was before, where it's sort of you having to sort of fight to get him to do stuff, how do you think what would be the best way to approach that, do you think?
I don't know. I tend to keep quiet for very long and then blow up. So that seems to be my modus operandi. So I'm not sure. I don't know if it would maybe be better to, as I see him start like losing interest, if that makes sense, to just sort of say, I don't know, maybe try the more positive route for him. And, if I see he's not doing something, rather go, thank you so much for doing blah. I really do appreciate it. It's been, really helpful, for him to kind of go, oh, yes, okay, I must still carry on doing that.
Okay.
Or something like that. I don't know. I'm still yet to figure out what works for him. I've tried hard. I've tried encouraging. I've tried to be motivating, and he's really a difficult person to try and figure out. And he'd probably say the same about me, because he is. Some days he wants that affirmation. He wants that, recognition of, I've done something and I've done it well. And then other days he's like, I don't need a pom-pom squad, so okay. he sort of flips between what he needs, to keep him motivated.
Yeah, I think what you don't want to do as well, correct me if I'm wrong, is get to that point where you do blow up, because it then becomes a massive issue, as opposed to, if the small things build up, they become the big things, and suddenly, a fight about popcorn turns into, 3 days of not speaking to each other or something. So, do you think that yeah, like you said, picking up and taking the more positive route and just trying to gently edge him back into routine, kind of like you do with your kids, if you want, just trying to put him back on the path. Is that something that you've tried before, where you have sort of seen him slip and start to sort of push him back in the right direction?
I can't say that I've actively tried it before, because I'm more just get irritated because I am busy. So that's something that I would have to work on and be conscious of in sort of not criticizing and nitpicking, and rather trying to be positive and encouraging and motivating, which takes a lot of effort. But if it does work, then it will be for my benefit as well.
Yeah, look, I think it's hard because it's putting the onus on you, but if it pays off, overall, it makes a difference. So I mean, maybe you can try that over the next sort of week, 2 weeks, just to see if that sort of helps to motivate him. Positive reinforcement, and just tell him he's doing a good job and see what happens. It would be interesting just to see if that works for you.
Yeah, if it does actually make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're coming to the end of the session now. Do you feel that there's anything that you would like to sort of touch on briefly before we go, or is there anything that you want to sort of work on in the next session that we can sort of start thinking about?
I don't think there's really anything at the moment directly. I think if I can try and do what you said and try and be more positive and encouraging and try and find more time for me, I think it'll be interesting to see how that affects, sort of what ripple effect of change that will have before, not before, but to see what change that has. And then when we chat again, I can let you know, yes, it helped, no, it didn't help, this is what I'm still battling with, or yes, it's helped with this, but it's not made any difference to intimacy, for argument's sake.
Okay.
So
I think I think if we were to put some sort of goals in place, it would definitely be trying to carve out some time for yourself. So doing the bathing, continuing with your painting, and continuing with the trying to keep that work-life balance in check, where your husband actually does pull his weight, by trying the positive reinforcement route rather than the explode after a week because nothing's been done route. And just see how that goes and sort of take it from there. But I definitely think it was a very positive. I think we've seen a positive move forward, from when we last spoke. And I definitely think that then going forward, if we just concentrate on trying to carve out some you time and just talk a little bit more about the guilt with the kids, and trying to have that internal voice say, it's okay, you are allowed to do the lion's share of the work. It's just it's getting your head around that role reversal, I think, more than anything else, but to also be very proud of where you've come and what you've achieved, and negotiating your way through COVID and still keeping a business, and a thriving business. So it's looking at the positives. I think that often is one way to go with it.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
All right, well, it was lovely to chat to you, and I hope that we chat again soon, and let me know how that all the sorry, I'm losing my train of thought, how the points that we've put in place, how they go, and just try to stick to them and see if it makes a difference. And positive reinforcement, I think that's the final thing that I'm going to say. Just try to be positive and don't let it bottle up, because the minute it starts to bottle up is when it blows up, and suddenly you're back in that cycle of irritation and frustration and stress, and everything goes out the window after that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, that's perfect. I will definitely make an effort to work on all of it.
I know it sounds like a lot of work, but I promise you it'll have the benefits in the long run if you just give it a go. Just give it a go and see. But if you do feel that it is, too much, and, you can't quite get to that bath or whatever, or the positive reinforcement, just try to stick to one thing. If you just keep the painting going, and just so that you have something for yourself for a couple of hours every week, it can make all the difference.
Perfect. I will do.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today, and I look forward to our next session.
Thank you.
Okay.
You too. Have a good day.
You too. Take good care. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.